Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Saieed Ali, a spiritual consultant and real estate businessman. Remember, for those of you that are having spiritual problems, you can feel free to contact me. Those of you who have properties to sell or looking for a property to buy, you can also contact me. And if you lend your friend and your family your hard-earned cash and you cannot get it back, they refuse to pay you, they're giving you the runaround, feel free to contact Real Talk Debt Collection Department, and we will be glad to assist you in any way possible. So viewers, I want to say a special good night to you. Those of you that are on our page, Real Talk with Saieed Ali, like and share as we go live. Those of you that are on our YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe to Real Talk. Hit the bell and you would know when we go live. So viewers, before we go into our program tonight, I just want to remind you that we have our drive going on for our Rape Crisis Center in Trinidad. Feel free to make a contribution. Remember, we are giving away prizes. We are giving away tickets to Tobago, all inclusive. We are giving away a nice necklace set. Feel free to contribute. This will benefit Trinidad and Tobago. It will benefit the females of Trinidad and Tobago. It would benefit the males. Like I said, this is one of this will be the only rape crisis center in Trinidad and Tobago that would house a rape victim. Sometimes every day, every other day, we talk about someone that is abused. Someone is forced into having sex. So I am asking you, please make a contribution. We are raising $10 million. We are nowhere close to that $10 million because of the state of Trinidad and Tobago. But nevertheless, God is good. I have my goals. I have set it out. And by the grace of God, we are going to reach there. So, as we start off tonight's program, leader of the United National Congress, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, has been officially appointed as the country's leader of the opposition. The swearing-in ceremony took place at 4 p.m. at the President's house. This comes 2 weeks after the general election in which the People's National Movement won 22 seats and the United National Congress won 19 seats. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar received her instrument of appointment from the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Paula May Weeks.
I now invite Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar to receive her instrument of appointment as Leader of the Opposition. You may be seated.
So viewers, there you have it. She is officially the opposition leader of the United National Congress here in Trinidad and Tobago. So before we move on now, as the years gone by, we were hardly hearing of the UNC. We were hardly hearing the ministers on the opposition. Things were just happening in Trinidad and Tobago without any question being asked, without anyone opposing the PNM administration. So now that she have received her instrument and been appointed the leader of the opposition in Trinidad and Tobago, I hope that it doesn't turn out like the last 5 years. Seriously, I am hoping that, because for the last 5 years, Trinidad and Tobago had no growth. I don't care what the Minister of Finance said. I don't care what the energy sector said. I saw no growth in our country of Trinidad and Tobago. I saw none. So let's just hope when the parliament resume and the both parties sit in parliament, that we are going to have some opposition for something, because the country needs an opposition. I cannot come here night after night after night asking ministers, well, Where's this? Where's the clearance for this? You understand? Where's the documents for this? Could you come out and be transparent with the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? We need the opposition. We need the opposition in Trinidad. So I hope that every member of the UNC, when Parliament resumes, things change. Because when Dr. Keith Rowley was opposition, believe me, he used to hammer them. He used to hammer them very well. He wanted transparency for every single thing that they were going to do, and they are doing. He wanted transparency. But during the last 5 years, it's only coming down to election time. We heard the opposition. Caller, good night.
Very, very good evening to you, Mr. Saeed.
To you, my friend.
First of all, the colors on the outfit blend and look very nice.
Thank you so much.
Only today in the national news, a gentleman in Tobago was charged by the Scarborough magistrate for swimming out at sea. His case was he went to check his boat after the heavy rains.
I heard his boat swam.
Right. So the magistrate didn't want to hear that. They charged him anyhow for breaking the public health ordinance.
Yes.
And I am still waiting with a bated breath to see if the 200 plus or anybody will be charged at all.
Well
like
said.
the law is for some. You know what I'm trying to say, okay?
Not a problem. I understand where you're coming from. Thank you, caller. And that is well said. Now, listen this, Listen this. Let me just finish here and we'll come back to Tobago. Representing Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Chief Justice Ivor Archie were present at the swearing-in ceremony. A number of opposition MPs were also in attendance. In a brief address, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa expressed her gratitude for the appointment. She once again recommitted herself to fighting for the citizens of this country. She assured that she will not abandon her duty to the people who elected her in office. Ms. Prasad Bisesa said, "The best is yet to come, after her work is not yet done."
I am prepared to continue to fight against injustice with or without office. But I will never abandon my duty to the people who elected me as MP and again did so. It is often said that the comeback is greater than the setback. And so we have had many setbacks in this country, despite what the spin doctors would have us believe. But together, as a united nation, the best is yet to come.
So viewers, feel free to call in 238-6716. We are live on Synergy TV from 7 to 8 p.m. Encourage your friends and your family to tune in. We are going to have a discussion tonight. Our discussion is, the guy in Tobago, he went to saw about his boat. He heard that his boat was swamped at sea and went to check on his boat. Seeing that his boat swamped, he attended to his boat. Nobody wanted to hear anything why the guy was out there, but his livelihood was being threatened. And nobody in authority was going to help him. Nobody. Nobody. So the 200 people down the island, the police moved swiftly to charge the individual in Tobago. But not one police officer moved swiftly to charge the individuals who were drinking and liming and dancing and partying while a COVID regulation restriction was in place. So now we have seen it clearly, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and viewers of Real Talk Worldwide, that there is one law for the upper class and there is another law for the lower class. Who vets laws? I am seeing it right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Hence the reason why I am talking about it. Anybody want to oppose me? Feel free. But look at the facts that occurred in Trinidad and Tobago with the guy on the boat at the beach with his livelihood being threatened and those were partying and fetting. Look at it. There is one evidence. When they go to the court of law, they want evidence. Well, the evidence is in front, Trinidad and Tobago. You all make the decision. You tell me who should be charged and who should not be charged. Because apparently the magistrate and them ain't seeing properly. Or the police officers and them are afraid to attack those in society. You know why? You know why? Because they might go on suspension for their job, or they might transfer them from Port of Spain to Guaya. I don't care who listening, and I don't business who in authority, and you're listening. The truth is the truth. And the facts are there for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to see and to judge. So who want to come after side for talking the truth, feel free. Now there's a saying goes like this. It's better you kill me for talking the truth than you kill me for a lie. Call a good night.
I say good night, man. Good night, the number one program on television from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Say, you know, the two issues now risen there. The issue here with the class issue we have in this country, and this will continue right through in Trinidad and Tobago, where we have law for the rich and law for the poor. And it's a really sad thing that, you know, it continues, and despite different administration that's coming to power, it still has happened. On the second issue of Ms. Prasad taking the vote of opposition leader today, yes, I voted for her, I supported her party, I supported her as leader of the party, but I know she's going to have a hard time in this 5-year period here with this government here, because this PNM administration is going to continue with the arrogance, the lies, the thievery and bad mismanagement of taxpayers' money. And now, say we see the win this election here, they rob it in. They want to try their best and rob it into the UNC supporters. Understand? Because they'll continue what they'll be doing. Doesn't spend the money at all. The state funds, put it into the corporations and different places that the money need to go. So it's just she just right now, she's just probably going to go in there and try her best. But like I said, she's going to have a real hard time with this keep rolling led administration. Thank you, Saieed.
Caller, one question for you. Just hold on the line. You there?
Yeah.
Were there works being done in your area for election?
No, no work being done at all. None at all.
Wow.
Since before the election, even called about almost a year now, there's a landslip in the drain out in front of my house. Regional corporation, nobody come and see about it, nothing at all. Down on the main road, on the main western main road in Karna, the Prime Minister constituency, there's a bus, major gallons of water being wasted, one by the fish market and one in Shola Street, the Point Commander area. And this is the Prime Minister constituency, and there are people all over the country crying for water.
Thank you, my friend, for viewing Real Talk.
Yes, right. Yeah, man.
And thank you for your comments. So as we move on, viewers, legislations to make wearing of face mask mandatory is expected to be laid in Parliament on Friday. This was revealed by the opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisesa. She made the revelation in an interview with the media after she received her instrument of appointment earlier. Ms. Prasad Bisesa said the information was communicated by her to her by leaders of the government business in the House of Representatives, Camille Robinson-Regis.
First order of business from the government is a bill that the government will bring, which is the mandatory wearing of masks. So that will be the parliamentary business on Friday. In terms of what the opposition can do on that day, there's nothing we can do today, tomorrow, and thereafter until Friday. Because the Parliament, the proclamation has to be read, the Parliament has to convene before any questions will be accepted from us, before any motions or any private bills or private motions. So everything happens 10 minutes after everybody's sworn in. Then there's a live Parliament, and then the opposition can table questions on notice, urgent questions, etc., etc.
So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but nevertheless, we are not over. We still have a show to do tonight, and I want to hear from you. 238-6716 right after this break.
Come down to Martha Imports Limited, one of the largest wholesalers and retailers for all your 4x4, SUV and car accessories. We also have in stock a large variety of rims to suit all your vehicular needs, new arrivals of 4x4 off-road accessories, and we are the sole distributor of TWI 4x4 accessories. Check us out at number 3 Hassan Ali Trace, South Lower Barrapore, or contact us at 654-5234, 289-4901, 271-3519 or 360-8773. We guarantee the best customer service, best deals, and definitely the best wheels. Martha Imports Limited. We put our customers first. Come down to Martha Imports Limited, one of the largest wholesalers and retailers.
So welcome back to Real Talk, viewers. So we are going to talk about Gary and the PCA concerning Owen Hackshaw. So here it is, viewers. There was no evidence to suggest that there was a misconduct in office by Deputy Police Commissioner Owen Hackshaw. This is according to the Police Commissioner Gary Griffith. He was speaking at a media briefing hosted by the TTPS earlier today. Last week, the Police Complaint Authority, the PCA, issued a media release suggesting that disciplinary proceedings be taken. However, Commissioner Griffith said the PCA has to provide no evidence to support its recommendation.
But this big hullabaloo that we are speaking about is not because the person acquired funds illegally, not because of fraud, not because of anything, because up to now the PCA have been unable to show to me anything that this individual was involved in financial impropriety, he acquired funds through fraudulent means, or that he committed a criminal offense. This is all about a situation that an officer did not, whilst he was on vacation for a year, he worked privately with other people, and he got paid for it, and he didn't get the approval from the Commissioner of Police. This year, if we didn't deal with this, this could probably turn over national security upside down. That's what this is all about. However, the fact of the matter is that it must be dealt with.
So viewers, he said that there was no evidence. He said that there was no evidence. They brought no evidence to support the claim. But there was evidence of the individual who in Tobago went to see about his boat. And there was also evidence of people down the island liming and drinking and partying. And nobody was charged. But we hear him say about evidence. Caller, good night.
You know, Mr. Ali?
Go right ahead, sir.
On the Down the Island stock. It's an article here, Gary on alleged Down the Islands party. I can't act on rum shop talk. Remember the Honorable Gary Griffith now?
Go right ahead.
Now, as the Commissioner of Police, I have no information, no documentation, no witnesses or evidence of any such incidents taking place. I cannot work, unfortunately, on rum shop talk, he said. So the video I have on my phone and your phone, that is evidence.
Apparently that is not evidence.
That TV show.
Thank you, my friend. Well said. Well said. That video is circulating worldwide by now. But anybody have the video of the guy in Tobago that went to check his boat? Anybody? But he was charged. He was charged. So you see in Trinidad and Tobago, that is why I could now see. That is why I could now see. There's a law for the poor man, and there's a law for the one in the upper class. But nevertheless, God don't sleep. He don't. Always remember that. God do not sleep. Everything happens. It happens on the appointed time. always keep that in mind. It happened on the appointed time. When they tried to kidnap my son, that happened on the appointed time it was supposed to. When the individuals and them got blind, it happened on the appointed time as well. Because God knows Saieed Ali would not just sit down and see someone come after his son. So as we continue our show tonight, meanwhile, Commissioner Gary once again took the PCA to task for the manner in which it released the information relating its recommendation. He said, this is not the first time information was released in the public domain before reaching to his office.
This is not the first time that we have seen the Police Complaint Authority do this. They seem to know, I don't know if Mr. West wanted to be so much in public life or to get popularity, he should have probably gone up for the election as a politician, because it seems that his new thing now is to push out releases to the public. I mean, in all the years I've been around, even in the military, as a politician, I can't recall the PCA pumping out releases of recommendations that they make to the public, and at times even before it gets to the hands of the Commissioner of Police, or even before we can actually complete the recommendation.
So the Commissioner is saying here now, Commissioner Griffith said, when this is done, the PCA is putting a strain in the relationship between both offices.
But the fact is that, you know, you can't continue to do the same thing over and over and keep apologizing. It means that you're not changing. If you want to have a good relationship with the police service, if it is you did something, obviously, that you will think that you will change your ways. You don't rush and send and be pressured by people, and then after rush and do press releases, and then come back and try to deceive people, try to make comment. Let me take it back. That you will say that, well, this is in the public's interest. How is that in the public's interest? Stop using cop-outs. So if it is you want to have a good relationship with the police service, have some respect for us.
That was the words of the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith, in Trinidad and Tobago. Issues relating to gender-based violence continue to capture the attention of the TTPS. This is according to Police Commissioner Gary Griffith. He said, this is evident through the establishment of the Gender-Based Violence Unit of TTPS. While addressing today's media briefing, the Police Commissioner said, soon, child pornography and elderly abuse will be added to the list.
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, you would have seen that we have been very proactive dealing with the concerns of gender-based violence, even recently as it pertains to the establishment of a gender-based violence unit, how we have operated dealing with rescuing women, dealing with sexual predators, persons who have, and then very soon we'll be dealing with issues as it pertains to child pornography, and dealing with rescuing elderly persons from being enslaved practically. So there's a lot that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is doing.
Commissioner Griffith said, to date, a number of persons were arrested under the Gender-Based Violence Unit. He further related plans to establish a sexual offense unit.
There were 57 persons charged. We explained that from the Joint Select Committee, everything that was done, the commendations we got, the formation, as I mentioned, of the Gender-Based Violence Unit, or the number of activities that would have been taking place to stop human trafficking, as I said, child pornography, child prostitution, and all of this. And then even the very soon to be established Sexual Offences Unit.
So viewers, let me just inform you of something. This Gender-Based Violence Unit was created. Remember when I started to talk about rape and building the Rape Crisis Center in Trinidad and Tobago, when I started to push the rape talk? Then TTPS got active and they decided to do something. Before that, they had no such thing of this. You don't want to believe me? Go back and check the date. The gender-based violence units were created. Go back and check it. And then go back and check my previous shows from that backward, and you will see. Let me tell you something. When I come here, I don't come here just to brag my mouth, you know. I come here to make changes in Trinidad. And thus far, we have been making changes. You know one thing that I cannot understand? We have police stations throughout Trinidad and Tobago. We have subunit police posts throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And there are drug blocks still running in Trinidad and Tobago. How is that possible? Why are drugs still being sold on the streets to minors, to elderly people, to old people? Marijuana, cocaine still coming in the country, prostitution still going on. They have all the intelligence, they have all the manpower, they have the law in their hands. And still, viewers, we still have it. We still have it. How come? This is the only platform where we get real talk. Where I ask you, how is this still existing when we have police posts set up in communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago? But we want to combat drugs, we want to combat prostitution, we want to combat the illegal importation of firearm, marijuana, and cocaine. You have people down the islands getting away, the upper class getting away, while the lower class, they have to pay the price. So we're moving on tonight. The Ministry of Youth, Development and National Service is a one-stop shop to address the issue facing young people in this country. This is according to Minister Fitzgerald Hines. Minister Hines said, the young people in this country are severely challenged. You were in office for the last 5 years. What did you do? That's my question to you. Minister Hines mentioned plans to bring back the youth camp. What happened to the last 5 years? He said already there are calls to establish such camp in areas like La Hoquita, Moruga, and Tablan. What did you do in the last 5 years? This is what I am asking you now. The minister explained that through the ministry, young people can be exposed to all type of training. Like I said, what did you do in your term of office in the last 5 years? Did you do something that Trinidad and Tobago would recognize you? Did you? Caller, good night.
Hi, good night, Saieed. I think the minister did a lot, you know, he got himself soaked down with flood water.
Thank you.
Here, one of the points I want to make, Mr. Griffith is saying that he don't want to be judge, jury, and executioner. But didn't you be judge, jury, and executioner when your police service investigator said there is no criminal offense? What the PCA now investigate and said, oh, there's an abundance and you show that they can get money and all these kind of things. Sir, why don't you do your job? Is it different stroke for different folk? And one Dayal Singh had said when they had appointed him, that, you know, when there was another candidate who had passed all the things was on top of the list, that some bad tree cannot bear good fruit. But you are so good, Mr. Dayal Singh. You are so true because that tree that you all plant was not a good tree. That is why we are not getting the fruit. Look at where murder is, and he come and say we give him 1 year. We are almost at 300, and you said you would have cut that. Now, with regards to this legislation of making masks mandatory, why is the opposition supporting that? What I am saying, if masks must be mandatory, how much masks did the government give to the population? There was a tender out for masks.
Yes.
What become of that? How much? What are you doing with the COVID? How much sanitizer have you given? You said the hospital system, the health system overwhelmed. Why can't the government at every corner have some tent or some place to issue masks? Because I tell you something, there are people. There are people in this country. Instead of spending $10 for masks, they would prefer to buy 2 doubles because they do not have the money. What is the government doing to that? This is the question I want them to answer. Now, with regards to that national service, years ago, those who are old enough to know Guyana had introduced that national service. And if you have a young daughter and wants to go to tertiary level, they have to go and do national service where they are mixed with criminal elements. They are mixed with how much, so would you allow your teenage daughter or young daughter to go in camp with these criminals? What security is it? This man does not have a plan, and so I want to let Mr. Rowley know he is a minority government. He is a minority, because 70% of the people do not want you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. So as we move on tonight, feel free to call in 238-6716. We are the #1 current affairs program in Trinidad and Tobago, where we discuss the real issues that is facing us. The real issues. So, the first sitting of the 12th session of Parliament will be held on Friday at 10 a.m. This was announced in a release by the Minister of Communication earlier today. He stated that proclaimed date, my mistake, and time will be confirmed at the next cabinet meeting, which will be held on Wednesday. Parliament was dissolved in July following the announcement of the 2020 general election date. So we're going to have a COVID update. The Ministry of Health provides the following update. As of today, Tuesday, 25th August 2020, 153 persons have tested positive for COVID-19. There are 152 positive cases in Trinidad and 1 positive case in Tobago. The total number of cases now stands at 1,252, with the number of active cases at 1,059. Just imagine, on the 10th of August 2020, we had the general election in Trinidad and Tobago. And after August 10, 2020, after August 10th, 2020, cases just started to arise in Trinidad and Tobago, like if it's flood passing through our country. The total number of deaths remains at 15, and 178 persons have been discharged. So if US cases are going up, the death remains at 15. Like I said, after the general election in Trinidad and Tobago, where did all these cases come from? All of a sudden, like a flood sweeping through Trinidad. Caller, good night.
Hi, good night.
Go right ahead there.
Pleasant good night to you. We are following you live on television.
Yes.
Just to lightly touch on the 2 topics you were speaking about previously, with the rape and sexual harassment, and what's the other one? Drug trafficking. Well, you see, you can never catch the big fishes, because if you have air guard in the sky, police on the land, soldiers, coast guard in the sea, how is the drug reaching into the country? Right? And when the police swear an oath to the government, who is instructing the police officers? Right?
Well
Secondly,
said.
I was speaking to Spanish sometime during the week, and this lady opened up to me, right? I mean, I understand Spanish a little bit, not that much. And she was telling me that people just entering into a home ripping off her clothes and advantaging her, and she don't know what to do.
Where is this?
This is somebody from Palmas, but obviously she's a Venezuelan national.
So people are just going into her house and advantaging
Trinidad
her?
and Tobago just corrupted the elements is already in the system, employed with the system, and actually working with the gang, so you can never beat them.
Thank you, my dear. Well said. On point. On point. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley was expected to return to work today. This comes after he was forced to spend time in quarantine. On his Facebook page on Friday, Dr. Rowley said he had learned on Thursday night that he was exposed to someone who later tested positive for COVID-19 on Election Day, that was August 10th. The PM said, "We have been tested and the results were negative." However, he noted that out of an abundance of caution, he had been told to stay into quarantine at his home until yesterday. Rowley indicated that he would be out on Tuesday, adding that he will limit his exposure as much as he can. The first meeting of his cabinet is scheduled for Wednesday. So the Prime Minister is coming out back to work, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's hear the plan for Trinidad and Tobago moving forward and not backward. Let's hear what they have to say. So we're moving up to Grandie Hospital. Feel free to call in. Caller, good night.
Good night, Saeed.
You're live on Real Talk. Go right ahead.
I would like to find out something. The Prime Minister said he gets COVID tested.
Yes.
By the way, which part is it right now?
Where?
Where is it right? He's not out and telling the country nothing, but some little birdie say he got paid for heart surgery. You hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Right.
Thank you, my Thank you, my friend. Operations at the Sandy Grande Hospital continue as normal, even though one staff member tested positive for COVID-19. Chief Executive Officer Ronald Tosaffaith said the ERHA has overwhelmed by a number of cases despite staff being positive and in quarantine. He added that operation at Sandy Grande were not affected. There were reports that some of the hospital's department had been closed. However, the CEO of the Eastern Regional Health Authority said, in fact, the hospital was functioning and in full capacity. So that was the news from the Eastern Regional Health Authority, even though people saying that they were closed and staff members in quarantine, the CEO says that they are fully functional. So those of you on the eastern side, you can visit the hospital in case of any emergency or anything. Caller, good night.
Saeed, thanks for the airtime again. One more thing I have to say. Remember, it is the same Speaker of the House, Bridget Anisette George, who wasn't satisfied when they wanted to discuss the COVID-19.
True.
She remained the same Speaker of the House. Parliament is going to be convened on Friday. And the first order of business is to discuss legislation to make masks mandatory.
I like where you're going with this.
I wonder what she's going to say now, Saeed.
I like where you're going with this. You there? He gone? I like where you're going with this. I wonder if she will say nothing important. I love where you went with this caller. Thank you. I wonder if she would say it is not important to wear masks in public. A 39-year-old police constable, we wouldn't mention his name, attached to the guards unit at the Scarborough police station, is expected to appear before a Scarborough magistrate to answer to the charge of breaching a quarantine order. Health official contacted the special reserve officer as he allegedly came in contact with someone who previously tested positive for COVID-19. According to a statement from the TTPS, the officer was tested on August 16th and was issued with a quarantine order for a period of 14 days from August 16th to August 29th, to which he voluntarily signed. Woo! Paper trail. The order stated that the officer was assessed and found to be possible risk for the transmission of the virus. Chief Medical Officer of Trinidad and Tobago, who is quarantine authority, directed that the officer be quarantined for 14 days. The quarantine order stated that the officer would not be allowed to leave his home, and failing to comply with these quarantine directions would be liable to conviction and a fine and imprisonment. However, during the quarantine, he was reportedly seen at a business place. Isn't this officer looking to break a jail? Or to pay some fine? Concerned citizens contacted the authorities and the police subsequently laid the charges. If he spent 6 years in prison or 6 months in prison, who are you going to blame for this? This is why I was pushing for the CMO to take charge and to put a fee and a penalty that those individuals who have tested positive and were told to stay home, and if they breach it, when you breach it, which means you don't care about the public, you don't care about your neighbor, you don't care about the people down the road, you're coming out of your house and you're going and interact with them. And this is how the virus could spread. Remember we had a discussion about that last week on previous shows? So this is why those charges for offense came into active. Like I said, the CEO, the CMO, Chief Medical Officer, seeing that this is a pandemic, all powers goes to him to tell the Commissioner of Police to lay charges on individuals because the CMO holds the power to do such a thing. He holds the power to do such a thing. So listen to this now. We have a caller in line. Caller, good night.
Hello.
Go right ahead.
Good evening, Saeed.
Yes, sir.
Last week, a security guard and a next SRP police were charged for kidnapping and rape and attempted murder of a Venezuelan found on the M2 ring road.
Yes.
Right. Look, this next SRP, why they do some psychiatric evaluation on these SRP police and them? Because remember, these SRP they're taking and they're putting in these service is not really educated people. Everybody could go and join this service and come up police as a SRP. Why they don't implement some kind of qualification for these people to join this service as SRP?
Thank you, my friend. And we heard that is the second offense because he was suspended prior to the first one. Prior to the first one. So since this is his second incident, don't you think he should be locked up without bail? This is something for you all to think about. So we're moving back now to the PCA, but not with the commissioner. Listen to this. The Police Complaint Authority has completed its investigation into the police killing of 5 persons in Lavantil. This comes after almost 2 years since the incident occurred. In a media release, the PCA said it has forwarded its report to the Director of Public Prosecution. On October 25, 2018, 15-year-old Shaquem Franco, 17-year-old Kadeen Phillip, 20-year-old Shondell St. Clair, 22-year-old Meshach Douglas, and 23-year-old Nicholas Barker were shot by members of the Interagency Task Force, that is the IATF, while playing card at a house in Laventille. The killing prompted outcry from the relatives and the community. The PCA said that the officers involved in the shooting were fired at first by one of the men. So they have finished their investigations, and we are waiting to see what is the outcome. I want to hear what they have to say. Call good night.
Good night, Saeed. Yeah, a bit confused, boy. The Prime Minister come in contact with somebody, and he self-quarantined himself. How much days did he quarantine himself? While this officer in Tobago gets 14 days suspension for 12 to quarantine himself. You didn't find something wrong there?
Different strokes for different folks.
Well, you see, this is the whole thing, you know, Saeed. There's the whole thing. If them in office and big position could do anything, the 1% and the government could do as they like. And the poor man cannot do that.
True.
And that is totally unfair.
Yep.
And God does not sleep at night.
Thank you. This is why I said, this is the only show that we will have a discussion. And this is the only show we'll put question to those in authority. The only show. Because I ain't afraid to ask question. And I know when you come knocking on my door, come good. Because my door is not a door you're going to break down. And you will tell yourself you're going to sweep it under the carpet. Watch me as the whole carpet and the floor, everything turning over. I am telling you that. I am telling you that. I am not afraid to tell you that. Let me tell you something. As long as you stand for the truth, people will come after you. There are some would side with you for standing up for the truth, and there are some would not like you because you're speaking out the truth. A 71-year-old Sandy Grande woman has been stabbed to death. She has been identified as Kausil Ramkilawan. Reports stated that on Monday around 12:30 a.m., a female relative heard voices coming from the woman's bedroom. And she observed a masked man in a brown hoodie. The hoodie is the thing that is pulled over your head like a jacket. On seeing the woman, On seeing the woman's 15-year-old granddaughter, the suspect fled the scene. She heard the granddaughter plead. She heard her grandmother plead. She would never do it again and immediately notified the police. Police said the woman's body bore several stab wounds to the left side and there were no signs of forced entry, and autopsy has been ordered. Caller, good night.
Hello, good night.
Go right ahead.
Yes, I'm calling for the Vice Minister Saeed. Coming from Money Blantyshires Road.
Yes.
Proceeding south. Hello?
Yes, you're live on Real Talk. Go right ahead. We are hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, it had a wire, a low wire, from a corner. Some poles was hanging like it wanted to fall, and it had some wires low on the ground, low. When I take the corner now, what can I cannot do nothing but I kept reaching up on the wire, and the wire now end up between it gets in contact with the vehicle, and it's gone and tangled up on the left wheel, causing damages to the vehicle. So I want to ask that question: who is responsible for that? And when we watch any poll, we see it's flow.
But what kind of wire was it? Was it a telephone wire? Was it a TNTech wire?
It's a flow.
Flow. Well then, Flow company is responsible for that wire.
Okay, I just call and say ask and let advice. No problem.
Thank you, my friend. You see, if it's a TNTech wire, TNTech is responsible. If it's a cable line, you have to find out who is the provider, and they will be responsible for that line. So viewers, stay locked on. We are going for a short commercial break. We are not over as yet, and I will see you right after this break.
Come down to Martha Imports Limited, one of the largest wholesalers and retailers for all your 4x4, SUV and car accessories. We also have in stock a large variety of rims to suit all your vehicular needs, new arrivals of 4x4 off-road accessories, and we are the sole distributor of TWI 4x4 accessories. Check us out at number 3 Hassan Ali Trace, South Lower Barrapore, or contact us at 654-5234, 289-4901, 271-3519 or 360-8773. We guarantee the best customer service, best deals and definitely the best wheels. Martha Imports Limited. We put our customers first. Come down to Martha Imports Limited, one of the largest wholesalers and retailers.
Welcome back to Real Talk, viewers. Caller, good night.
Good night, Said.
Go right ahead, you're live.
Yes, Said, this pandemic we're going wrong, boy. I feel the other change in a pandemic, you know. They had to put World War III. You understand? Because this thing intend to kill out everybody. Look like everybody getting this, you know. Everybody getting this. Nobody is escaping, you know. It's like World War III. An invisible World War III.
I hear you. Thank you, my friend. So viewers, tonight, we're tuning it up tonight. Do you think the individual of Tobago who got charged when he learned that his boat swamped in Tobago, do you think he was charged willfully? Why didn't they charge the individuals that were down the island, liming and fetting and drinking? There were COVID restrictions in place. How come the charges didn't apply to them? How come? The gentleman went to see about his boat. He went to see about the instrument that was given him a livelihood to feed him and his family. While other group of individuals, they weren't studying about their job. They weren't studying about their jobs. They were partying, they were liming, they were dancing, they were fetting. So we're tuning it up tonight. Caller, good night.
Hello, Said.
Go right ahead.
Remember, bandit is support Martha got wrong. So what happened now? They're going to make mask mandatory?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, that is what they're going to do. Thank you, my friend. So when you exit your house, you have to wear a mask, whether you like it or not. It is safety precautions. It is the only way to combat the COVID-19 spread in Trinidad and Tobago, according to them. So my thing is, did the individual in Tobago had a fair hearing? That is my thing. So his boat that gave him his livelihood, that was not important. That was not important. But I wonder, I'm just wondering, if he was drinking at the beach and liming and partying, would he have gotten away? seen that the other party were liming and drinking and fetting, would he have gotten away? This is what I want to ask those in authority. The officer who laid the charges, if a similar incident happened to you, what would you do? What would you do? I will tell you something. You see common sense? Common sense was made before book. That individual got charged for going to check on his livelihood, his boat, to make sure it did not sink. But the individuals and them who got caught with the $96 million in marijuana, they were allowed to walk the Trinidad and Tobago. Somebody say something now. Somebody in authority say something now. Some lawyer, some magistrate, some police. Or let's say something. Or let's say something now. I am asking you all that. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You see, when coming to being stink, all can be more stink than me. Because I will tell you something. When you want to play stink at a man who's standing up for the right thing, I'm tell you, watch me. Something will just hit all behind all head, bow shot. And all won't even know where it come from. That is how stink I could be. So this is what I'm asking the officer. If a similar incident happened to you, what would you do? If your life were threatened, what would you do? You being an officer. If you had a boat and somebody called you and tell you, hey Officer John Doe, your boat swam down by the sea, and you know it have COVID regulation, what you going to do? That's your livelihood. And it's the same thing I want to ask the magistrate. Vice versa. Common sense goes a long way. Common sense goes a long way. I'll keep that in mind. I do business who vex. Call a good night.
Saeed.
Yes, my friend.
Now, once he's a bona fide fisherman, all you have to do when he appear before the magistrate, present your fisherman license, and that's the argument for your case. Because I can't understand why the policeman would charge a fisherman who's going to secure his boat. Understand, in Tobago, we had some real bad weather over the weekend. On one more quick issue, I called just now, and he talked about his car make contact with some wires or something, so right? I just want to touch on the authorities. I think you only can start getting act together, because I was reading in newspapers where a gentleman was walking the streets and a boom from a truck became loose and hit the gentleman in his head, and he died on the spot.
Yes.
So to the authorities, like sitting authorities trying to make the police service, come out and do all the work to make police and make sure the vehicles on the nation road are roadworthy. Thank you, Saeed.
Thank you, my friend. Well said. So now the lawyer who represented the boatman could appeal the matter and use the incident of down the island partying. Yeah. Is there any good lawyer who in Tobago who would love to represent these individuals and appeal the matter? Because he went to check on his livelihood. He went to check on his boat. He's a fisherman that is feeding his family. So viewers, we are out of time for tonight. But nevertheless, we tuned it up a little bit tonight just to give you an idea of the laws that governs Trinidad and Tobago. Let me tell you something. We will have a discussion about the demerit points, because I get to understand if your bulb blow in your car or your tail light blow, it's points. It's points. But nevertheless, we leave in that discussion for another time. Viewers, be safe. Enjoy the night. When you leave in your house, please keep your mask on. Because when it is laid in Parliament, you might be charged. Good night.